Good morning, everybody. This is Jeremy from Double J Farms Homestead. We welcome you back to the channel. Wanted to come to you with a little country theology this morning, and hope it'll be a blessing to you. We appreciate you watching, and I just want to say thank you to all the subscribers, the old and the new. You've put us over 600, and I never thought I'd be there. But we're trying our best and working hard on this channel, but we can't do it without y'all. And we appreciate you. And if we're a blessing to you, would you share us with your friends? We want to grow. We want to try to encourage folks and entertain folks and even help folks to learn some of the stuff around the old homestead. But today we're just going to talk about remembrance. And we all have things that we remember, good and bad. But we want to think about the good. And we appreciate y'all watching, and hang with us here. Sitting out here this morning on the porch. Boys have been up tending the livestock, and I have not been out this wet weather, which I'm very thankful for the rain. But it makes it hard on my joints, and kind of slow this morning. So the boys are taking care of everything, but I wanted to come out here on the porch and got my coffee and talk a little bit about remembrance. And you know, we think about folks and times that we've had, and like I said, good and bad, but I want to think about the good, especially here at Christmas. And I think about loved ones that's gone on that I miss terribly. But I think about the good times. I think about being with my grandmothers. My grandmothers were two of the best friends I ever had. I never got to know my grandfathers. And I hate that because I feel like I missed out. But my grandmothers were very dear to me. Now, my grandmothers they were as different as night and day. But I love them dearly, still love them even though they've gone on to glory. But they were just kind of from two different worlds. My grandmother Moore, she was just a country lady. She never drove, and she never had a phone until the last probably year of her life because of they needed it there because she was so sick. And she had a little bitty, like 13-inch black and white television. And the only time I remember her turning it on was in the evening to watch the news. And when the news went off, she would turn it off. But I remember staying with her. I would stay with one grandma one Friday night and one grandma the next Friday night. But now Grandma Moore, she had an old wood stove and that kind of thing. But I can remember she would get up in the morning and she would always fry me out some fatback. She would make me some coffee, which we'd pour in our saucer. And she would make me cinnamon toast, and she would make me oatmeal. And I thought that was the grandest breakfast in the world. I would give a million worlds right now to have one of Grandma Moore's breakfasts. Nobody can make cinnamon toast like she could. But my fondest, when I think about remembrance, thinking about her, is at night, before we'd go to bed, she had an old praise and worship hymnal. And we'd get that old hymnal out. And me and her would sit there by the wood heater, and we'd sit there and sing. That's memories nobody can take away from me. We'd sit there and sing and sing and sing. No piano, no nothing. Neither one of my grandmothers ever got to hear me play the piano and organ. My grandmother Moore, however, she could play by ear, and she could tear up a little brown jug. Now, I'm here to tell you now, she'd get with it. But me and her would sing, and I remember after she passed away, they had an auction just for the family. And some of my cousins, they used to pick at me, and still do to this day. They would tell me that I was Grandma's favorite. But I remember the day of the sale. I was about 12 years old. But I remember them taking me, Uncle Jimmy, he's passed away now, but I remember him putting his arm around me, and Aunt Dot and Aunt Darlene. They all stood there with me and said, Jeremy, I want you to go in the house and pick out what you want, because you were so, so special to Grandma. I still have what I got that day. I got a Bible. I got that old praise and worship hymnal. And I picked out 2 of her brooches that she would wear mostly just to funerals. And I still have all that today, and I treasure it. And I miss her. I miss her. But those memories, when I remember her, boy, it just makes me warm inside, so to speak. And I wouldn't take gold for that. I really wouldn't. When I think about Grandmother Jackson, she was one of a kind. I can remember her. Me and her would have picnics in her yard. Her yard was beautiful, and we would go out, and she had a little round table, and still got the table too. And we would have our lunch out under her big magnolia tree. And I can remember she had crystal stemware and china and all this kind of stuff, and still have it too. But she would make pistachio pudding, and she would put it in these little crystal stemware glasses and put it in the refrigerator, and that would be our dessert at supper. Or she would make a pistachio cake that was out of this world. And when I think about Grandmother Jackson, I think about at Christmas, she would make ambrosia. And she would sit for hours, and she'd peel the membranes off of oranges and that kind of thing. And she would make this ambrosia, and she would have it in a big crystal punch bowl. And at Christmas Eve, we'd always go to her house, have a big, big dinner, and for dessert, we would have some kind of cake usually. But we'd always have that ambrosia. We never had it but just at Christmas. And I've tried to make it like her since then. It's just not Grandma's. But I remember that as a kid. She died right before I turned 14 years old. She died July the 6th. And I never will forget it. She was in the hospital that day and in critical care unit, and where they wouldn't let you back but just certain times a day. And the last time I went back, she was laying there and she didn't speak much. She got me by the hand and she said, this was around 2 o'clock. She said, honey, what kind of cake do you want for your birthday? And I said, well, Grandma, don't worry about that. Just get better. She said, no, what kind of cake do you want? I said, well, I want one of your coconuts. She said, okay. She said, I'll make you one. And she squeezed my hand. And about 4:30, they came, got us, and she'd passed away. But I remember that. And I remember that love that I felt with my grandmother laying there dying and worrying about a birthday cake for me. Those memories nobody can take away. I moved her house up here in the country to the farm. We sold the land to build a grocery store, and we took the money and moved the house up here in the country. And I live in her home today. Still have a lot of her furnishings still in the house. Still use some of her bowls that she used to cook with. And I've got some of Grandma Moore's enamel pans that I use when it's canning time to prepare the vegetables in. We have those things that we are tangible to remember our loved ones. But you know, we can look in nature that God created and see some things that we can have some remembrance to. See that dogwood out there? See how red it is? It's an ornamental pink dogwood. And I've noticed this thing for years. You know, it'll bloom at Easter, and then at Christmas, it turns just as red, and it will hold its leaves till almost Christmas Day. And then it will shed them. But you know, I think about the dogwood. At Easter time, it blooms. And it makes me think of the resurrection. Just as at Christmas time, when it turns so red, it makes me think of the birth of Christ. And folks, that's what Christmas is all about. You know, I know we enjoy being with our families. We enjoy gifts and giving gifts and that kind of thing. But I look at this dogwood tree, and it holds a lot of memories to me. And I'll tell you kind of about that as well. But when it blooms, that resurrection at time, it makes me remember, you know, that he did die and went on to glory. He's not in a grave. He's alive. And it reminds me that he is coming back one day. And I'm thankful I'm ready, and I hope you are too. But when I see it red at Christmas time, I think about his birth, and I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that remembrance. It means a lot to me. That dogwood tree. Let me tell you a story about it. When I was married, the boy's mother, she wanted that tree. And we bought it, planted it, and the whole time that we were together, it never bloomed. And when we parted, I never will forget it. It was March the 29th. That dogwood had never bloomed the whole time that we were together. And I was so distraught and brokenhearted and mad and everything else. I've told you that. Blaming myself. But I remember that year. Brokenhearted shell of a man. And I remember that Easter. That dogwood bloomed for the first time after she had left. And I thank God for it, because I felt like he was giving me an inclination that things were going to be all right. And that just keep trusting. He showed me life in that old dogwood tree that I'd never seen. And just for me to keep trusting that things were going to be all right. He was going to look after me. I think about a song that Jeff and Sherry Easter sing, and it talks about the death of a loved one, but the name of it is Roses Will Bloom Again. If you've never heard that song, look it up. We go through hard times, but folks, they will bloom again. That gives us hope. Just like that song we played the other night, Hope of the Ages. It gives us hope there's a better day coming, especially for the Christian. There's a home waiting for us over on the other side. And I don't believe it'll be long. I believe we'll be there. And I'm thankful for that promise. I'm thankful for that hope. And I'm thankful for the assurance that I have, knowing I have a home. As the old song says, I'm just a pilgrim passing through down here, and that's the truth. This world's not our home. We are just passing through. That old song says that, and then it says, my treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. And you know what? That's the truth. There's nothing wrong with things here. But I'm trying to serve Him so that I have some rewards when I get there that I can turn right around and lay at His feet and thank Him for all eternity for what He's done for me. So think about the good times. Think about, remember those special times. If it's somebody that's gone on, remember the times that you have while we're still here. And it'll get us through some of these dark days. The holidays are hard for a lot of people. And it breaks my heart for them. And I pray for them dearly because I know they need it. And if you know somebody, do something for them. You don't know how it could change your life. But this is just a little country theology. I hope it'll bless you. And hope you'll keep watching and liking and subscribing. You're helping us tremendously. That thumbs up, I tell you what's truth, makes a world of difference. If you'll hit that thing, I tell you, I'd appreciate it. But we got some more stuff coming. Y'all keep watching. And as we say, you keep loving on folks, keep serving folks, and keep bragging on Jesus. And I promise you, you'll get the blessing. We love and appreciate all of you. We're praying for you, praying for God to bless you, and bless you real good. And if you get the chance to bless somebody else, do it. Because I tell you, there ain't nothing like that feeling. Y'all have a good day, and we'll catch you the next time.